Today we are going to have a strategy video with some hidden tips from Castle Crush that you may not know, or maybe you know, but I really hope and I think that you will learn something in this video. And as it's going to be a heavy one, let's start. So, the first thing that I want to explain is how to cancel an auto attack of an enemy troop. So that can be something that can be really useful, especially when you have a Black Knight at your castle that is going to hit you at 1000 damage a hit. If you can cancel some of those hits, it's going to be a lot of HP that you're going to save yourself. So how to explain how to cancel the enemy attacks? We need to explain first what is the mechanic of an attack of a troop. So basically you have three phases when a troop is going to attack your castle, and I'm going to explain with a pen. So basically three phases, yeah? First phase, the troop is going to prepare the attack. Let's say I'm a warrior, for example. So I'm going phase 1 to have an animation to prepare the attack, phase 2 attack, phase 3 animation to come back at the starting position, all right? And the thing is, so knowing that and putting it aside, now let's talk about a second mechanic that we have in the game, that when you are summoning a troop in front of another troop, two melee troops, this is always going to reset the attack of the troop that was already alive, so they can both attack at the same time. I think this was made to simplify the game, so when you have a troop attacking your castle, you don't need to think about the perfect timing to get the first hit or that kind of stuff. So doesn't matter what happens, they will attack at the same time. So now I'm going to explain. So the theory is that if a troop is preparing the phase 1 of the preparing the attack animation and then you summon a troop, the phase 2 and 3 are not going to happen. It's going to be cancelled, and then the troop, they will both attack at the same time. So you cancelled this attack. And in the same way, if you have the bad timing and you've put it right after the attack, you are going to increase the attack speed of the enemy troop. Because let's say I'm a Black Knight. Phase 1, I prepare the hit, I hit, and you summon a troop right away. The end of attack animation is cancelled, and then the Black Knight is going to hit right away again. So you need to be very careful knowing that with the timing when you should put your troops on the field. Alright, so if your Necromancer is advanced in the lane and then you use the Standardbearer, what's going to happen is that he's going to be immortal, as you can see, and the Black Knight will just hit and the Standardbearer will just never die, because every time it dies, it's instantly resurrected. So there can be Black Knight and like even 1000 troops, it's not going to change anything. The Standardbearer is the ultimate defense here, he is basically immortal. There is one thing though that you need to be careful, is that when you summon a troop, as you know, you are going to reset the auto attack of the enemy that is in front of you. But the thing is that the resurrection of the Necromancer is not counted as a troop coming back, it's counting as you summoning another troop. So with that loop of reviving the troop continuously, you can get in a way that you are constantly cancelling the phase 3 of the attack of the enemy troop. So if the troop is mono-target like a Black Knight, there is no issue. But if it's a Reaper, then there's going to be an issue, because you're basically going to have an enemy Reaper at double attack speed at your castle, which is very dangerous. So now I want to talk about the casting times. So as you may have noticed, when you play a card on the field, it's not going to be active right away. There is always a delay between the moment that you play the card and then the card is either played if it's a troop or if it's a spell. So there is basically a 1 second delay starting from when you put your card from your hand to the field. And this, whether if it's the Black Witch, as you can see here in the example, or any other troop, or even spells, as long as you put a card from your hand to the field, there will always be a 1 second delay. So as you can see in this full example of the Black Witch, basically she has 1 second to be cast from your hand, and then approximately 1.8 seconds to make her effect. So which means that from the moment that you play her from your hand to the field, you are going to transform the enemies into skeleton in 2.8 seconds. And this is important to know, not to count before you put the witch, but because then if you know your casting times, you can use your spells so in a way that you can cancel the lane right away, that if you witch arrows or witch fire, that you are going to play it at the exact moment that you are always going to validate your witch and kill the lane. And on the opponent side, it's also important to know, depending on the spells that you choose to counter the witch, what is the reaction time that you are allowed to be able to kill her. So what we are going to do now is that I'm going to show you the different spells of Castle Crush, and I'm going to indicate the casting time for each one of those. And what's interesting to see about those spells is that although it always takes 1 second to cast it as any other card in Castle Crush, but then it's still going to be longer for the effect to take place. For example, the Meteor, as you can see here, at 1 second you can see that it's preparing the Meteor and then it's throwing it. And for Inferno it's even more surprising because at 1 second it's casting it, you see the fire, but the fire takes place after 3 seconds. I mean the damage caused by the fire. Alright, so that will be the end of the casting times. So as you can imagine, this was quite of a long task to time everything, but I think it's quite important because now we know that not all the spells are equal when it comes to countering the witch. Of course, Shock and Lightnings are the fastest ones to be able to counter her because you have no delay. Basically, you have the 1 second casting time as any other card of Castle Crush, and then that's it, you strike right away. When Inferno, Meteor, Fire Elemental, Bomb, everything had a delay. And another part that should be also interesting is when you want to combo the witch plus a spell, so I added it also in the little commentaries, that basically you have 0.5 seconds for the arrows or the Inferno to play it after the witch, because basically you play the witch, take 1 second, then she's on the field she takes 1.8, so if after 0.5, so like half a second, you throw the spell, then she's going to take the 1.3 second remaining to cast her ability, and those 1.3 seconds are going to be basically the cast of your spell. So if you do it in this way, you are going to insta-kill any lane with your spells, and I think that's pretty cool. About the demon, interesting to notice that he has a 1.8 second to cast his ability because 1 second to cast it from your hand and then 0.8 to cast his ability to burn a troop on the field. So that means that if the opponent is casting a witch and you decide to cast right away a demon and you do it within 0.8 seconds, so let's say in the first second when the witch is played, you're going to transform your demon into a skeleton, so you cannot play it. As demon is 1.8, if you see the witch, it's already too late. You need to wait for the witch to first transform into skeleton and then demon, otherwise it's going to be wasted. Either that or to pre-shot. For example, if you see that your troops are about to be at arrow range and you are against overtime, for example, or like you feel that your opponent is going to witch, you demon before seeing the witch, and then if the opponent is going to witch, she's going to be burnt. It can be a very risky play, but the only way with the demon to burn a witch before she can cast her ability. Alright, so for the last tip of this video, I'm going to talk about how the matchmaking in Master Tournament is made. So basically, when you will advance through the rounds and you will be on the last rounds, of course you will notice that the matchmaking will take some time to find an opponent for you. Because how it's going to work? Basically, first he's going to try to find an opponent that will be around the same round as you in the Master Tournament. But then, after some time, if there is no one, it's going to switch the queue to try to find someone that is around your round but in the Grand Tournament. And then if there is no one, he's going to give you a complete beginner. Can be anyone from any round of any tournament. So I have seen some videos of people that, for example, when they see that the matchmaking takes long, they start getting paranoid. And they're like, oh my god, the game is trying to find a counter deck for me. I need to leave the matchmaking right away. But no, and that doesn't exist, and that's stupid, because if you decide to wait and let the matchmaking do his thing, what's going to happen is that if there are not enough people playing, you're going to play against someone that is not very good. And although it might be sad for that person, for you in the master tournament, that can be a free round. So if you're in the master tournament and if you see that it's taking some time, just let it be. This screenshot that you see here is taken from my video where I win a master tournament in 15 minutes on my YouTube channel, like round 1 to 15, how to win a master tournament in 15 minutes. And here you can see that the same thing happened to me here in this exact same screenshot, that I waited. After 1 minute 30 there was no one to be matched against, so I had basically a beginner against me at round 8, I think, of the master tournament, something like that. So if you're in tournament and if you see there's no one, stay and wait. Alright, so that's the end of this video. I really hope that you learned something today and that you enjoyed that video. If it's the case, please leave a like and let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon in another video.